Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro Division with the tournament win for the qualifying round in the Big Torp tournament here in Golf Clash the game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. You can get the ultimate tournament guides by going to Patreon, link directly in the description down below. Follow the info box on the right hand side to get the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but I always have a plan with my adjustment. So let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1, we're going to start by using whatever power 5 ball you can use. And for me, it's a berserker ball because that's a possible win in the golden shot. But those of you that do spend money on special balls, obviously whatever power 5 ball you have will work here. Add the 6 top spin, 2 left spins. Either you play with Apocalypse level 3+, or you play with an Extra Mile level 8+. You can also play with a Thor's Hammer that do have at least 6 bars of top spin. Add spin so you see the ball guideline into the rough. Then you adjust max plus 10. No push up whatsoever if you do play with Extra Mile level 8 or 9. But if you do play with Apocalypse level 3, then you push up 5 yards after the adjustment. Apocalypse level 4, you push up 2 yards after the adjustment to compensate for the less power that you do have. Now for the second shot, we're going to play with our wedge. And here you either play with the Endbringer if you do have it in level 6. If you don't have Endbringer level 6 or better, then you do play with the Rapier. And the reason for that is the backspin. Because here we're going to use the plus yardage that we are in. Now this replay is a little bit messed up, so the +1 there is actually where max club are. So just to give you a reference here, we're gonna use 4 bars of backspin, and from +0 we're going to play 90% slider, 55% elevation, power 5 ball setting. So that is a lot of elevation, but wedge here plays massively different than a short iron, and you may be wondering, why do I go with a wedge here instead of playing for a short iron? It's because the rollout was too inconsistent for my taste, and it did give me more wedge range than it would be giving me short iron. So I cannot give you a shot with a short iron that will work maybe 25% of the times, as we don't get the rollout from the drive. But here you do have the wedge play, which is super duper solid. But once again, +0 on your wedge club with 4 backspins apply and ball guideline to the hole, plays 90% slider, 55% elevation, power 5 ball settings, and a perfect there will be in all day and every day. On hole number 2, we're gonna start with any power 3 ball that we do have, because we do want to find complete minimum distance. Using the Grizzly is somewhat crucial here also, because then you will find that red line, which means that you're not gonna go back into long iron, back into wood club, and I think that's very important to have. Now I'm using in this case 3 bars of backspin, 1.5 bar of right spin with the red ring by the rough line to the right. Adjustment is max +5, and I would here advise you to have a wind between 5 to 6.5 miles per hour. So if the wind is very low with a Kingmaker, which is then below 5, then switch to a Titan instead to use that ball to try to keep the wind strength the same. You can see that the second bounce was very close to the fringe, so you may be wondering what happens if you do hit a great left. You're still gonna be fine. I did that myself the first attempt, and I did hit the fringe and got a bounce up to the left, but it's still gonna be a very short and simple putt. A great right is safe as well, and a perfect is gonna have a good chance for a drop. For hole number 3, we are going to play with a berserker ball once again. Not so much for the drive, but especially for the second shot, as playing with a power 5 ball increases the opportunity for us to make an albatross from distance. Big Topper level 2+ you can play with here, because we are looking to get as much topspin possible. Aim with all the topspin, 1 left spin, second bounce to be just by the rough line there to the right, as you can see there in the video. Adjustment here is going to be maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment. Make sure that you do not have any unnecessary 1159, which is when the needle is pointing more left than it should. It should be pointing straight up. Half a ball of curl to the left. Then try to hit perfect, and you will see it bounce nicely on the fairway over to the other fairway. And now we're looking to have that roll. That's the roll that we're looking for to get into the top of the final shadow. If we do that, we know we're gonna have a very good chance here making an albatross from distance. Second shot, we're going to play with the Guardian, and the Guardian is going to be a club that has a lot of backspin, and that's the backspin we wanted to use. So max backspin here and half a bar of left spin. Now you can see this is a replay, so the video is not showing correct because the maximum yardage for the Guardian and for a wood club shot is plus 23 with a power 5 ball. So what I'm doing here is that I'm adding spin, max backspin, half a bar left spin. Then I do stretch out my club to I can find to be 2 green squares left of the pin, but being pin high with my second bounce. That will mean that I'm going to have to use overpower if I'm having a little bit of a shorter drive than I wanted to. Inner wall curl to the left, and I adjusted this one max minus 5% elevation P5, but as we do hit a great left, I would like us to play max no elevation instead, power 5 ball numbers, and obviously overpower. And overpower is the amount of range that you do adjust into. We're playing to catch the funnel of the back of the green, and that funnel is absolutely massive. So you will probably see opponents, but hopefully yourself, to drop a great ball left or a great ball right there, because if you're just catching the massive funnel area, the ball will roll back into the hole, and then you're gonna celebrate the albatross. For hole number 4, now we're going to look at the blue ring to the left by the rough line, with the bullseye to be just by the edge of the shadow. That's the reference points that we're using, and you can use whatever sniper you have, and I would recommend to play with sniper level 7 or better, as then you do have the 4.5 ball guideline. 1.2 bars of top spin, 3 right spin. Adjust is 1 to 1. And 1 to 1 means that you adjust 6.6 rings for 6.6 miles per hour, which is the same as medium distance with a 10% elevation power 3 ball settings. Half a ball of curl to be outside the adjustment ring to the right, and that's the tricky part. Finding half a ball of curl, you know, you can be a little bit more, a little bit less, and that's gonna be the troubling part in this one here. But no matter what though, you will always be close, and if you execute it properly, you will definitely catch that funnel that is on the green and let it drop for an hole-in-one. So I would say hole number 4 is tough, but definitely far from impossible. Hole number 2 and hole number 8 are better chances, but hole number 4, once again, is still a good chance. For hole number 5, I want us to use the rock if we do have the rock level 8 or better. If not, then we're going to play with an extra mile or a Thor's Hammer or an Apocalypse, so we can get the 4.2 bars of topspin, because that's the issue if you do have a lower level the rock, because then you won't have the topspin enough to get to where we want to, so therefore we need to, if so, change club. Aim with the red ring by the rough line, adjustment max, no elevation, and we're gonna use power 2 ball settings, which is 1 to 1, so that's easy to remember. 2 bars of right spin, 4.2 bars of top spin, and this is perfect. Getting the ball to around 340 yards is going to be absolutely perfect for us, because then we can use the funnel play. Once again, we do have a funnel, and this funnel is also massive, but you need to, follow the trick that I do have here to maximize the opportunity for a drop. First, I'm checking at the start of the fringe at the back of the green, which is +1. I'm gonna remember that because I'm gonna use that to get the correct adjustment. Now, top of the blue ring by the edge of the fairway, and then I'm looking to be into that massive funnel. You can see that I moved left and right, and the ball guide did not move, right? So that's the spot that I'm looking for, and then after I find that spot, it's important for me to have the ball guideline as straight as possible towards the pin to also then go through the hole. So therefore I'm using a variation of topspin and left spin depending on where I end up on my drive. And that's the tricky part, because it sometimes could be, 2 bars of left spin, sometimes it could be 1 bar of left spin depending on where you end up on the fairway. Topspin will always be somewhere between no and 1 bar. That's going to be pretty consistent. 10% elevation, and based on the +1 check that we did have in the video, we played 24% slider, and then once again the 10% elevation. And I would say a perfect ball here is more, yeah, it's a massive funnel, so it's going to drop every single time. Hole number 6, and we start with the driver that gives us the most power possible. For me, it's the extra mile level 8, and that's why I'm gonna use that club. 6 bars of topspin, 2 bars of left spin. You can see now that my focus is the ball guideline. Ball guideline should be in the center of that gap you can see there by the bunker, but also you can look at the shadow from the tree at the top to have the ball guideline to be just by the edge of that. That's 2 references that you can use. It's not maybe super solid, but it works. Adjust max +10. If you do adjust into overpower, use whatever rings you adjust into. Otherwise, if you don't adjust the overpower, you don't use any overpower. Outside wall left curl, and I hit a pretty decent great left, and I'm still safe, which makes me happy, because often with headwind on this hole, a great ball is usually crap. But we got there, and that's the only thing that matters. Now, second shot is going to be difficult. It's almost a direct headwind, so playing a rough bump or playing with a sniper is, in my opinion, not a thing to do if you don't want to spend a special ball on this particular hole. So I'm gonna use the Titan that I do have, 4 bars of backspin, 2 bars of right spin. What I would like to do here though is to move my ball guideline a little bit higher up, to have the tip of the ball guideline to be, pin high. Because now I'm pretty much like 1/3 into the green with that ball guideline, and as you will see on the video, I will fall short. But this is a very difficult par 5 to get a drop on, so I would say I don't forfeit the albatross before I play it, but I'm having it in the back of my mind here that will most likely be an eagle, and as this is the qualifying round, my goal here is to play as safe as possible, so it's not gonna cost me a shot where I might get a birdie for pushing it too hard trying to fight for that albatross. So play it carefully here on this one. You will have somewhat of a semi chance if you do make the tweak as suggested for the second shot, but overall you will see eagles complete, just eagles here on hole 6. For hole number 7, option number 1, I got the pleasure to lend videos from Ben Kennedy to go this one aggressive. So we start by stretching out our target just to max by having the red ring to the right by the sandtrap line. 5.8 top spin and 3 bars of right spin, and then we shall adjust max +10. Those of you that do have the possibility to play with Apocalypse level 5 or better, then you shall do so, but you should reduce and play 5 bars of top spin instead of 5.8. And the reason for that is that you do have 6 yards extra power on Apoc 5+, so you need to compensate by then removing a bit of topspin. Max curl to the right, max overpower, try to hit perfect, and the idea here is to get past the trees that you see there on the right to have an open shot towards the pin for a wedge. And here you play with a wedge that you feel the most comfortable with, but we do recommend to play with the endbringer if possible. Here you can see that we are not in complete, that we are not having max position by the pin. So in that case, we're going to be a bit innovative here, because we, in this case, going to play 30% EB school is the plan. But as we're not having our max target on pin or above the pin, we need to then add, or we need to increase elevation. So I would play this one in this sense maybe around 45% elevation max numbers. But again, you decide how you want to play your wedge. I'm just giving you an example. But if you get to a point where your max target is at pin or past the pin, you use 30% elevation EB school method. And that is with no spin, so don't add any spin ball guideline to the hole. And it's a nice eagle to come by on hole number 7, where this wind is a bit tricky because it's hard to decide what way to play when you do have a straight crosswind. But for those of you that do not have the possibility to play with Apocalypse level 4 plus, or don't want to go with any type of power slide or something like that, now we don't suggest that, but it's always a possibility on a hole like this. But then you take a look at option number 2, which is the more safe and also a layup option. For hole number 7, option number 2, this is going to be a layup option for those of you that do not have the Apocalypse to be used, or you don't want to try to do any power slice or something like that. So we're going to lay up quarterback level 7 or better. It's something you need to have because we do want to have 3.5 bar backspin. Blue ring to the left by sandtrap line, blue ring to the right by the rough line, 3.5 backspin and 3 right spin. Adjustment is 1-to-1, which is then 5.4 rings for 5.4 miles per hour. And that's the same as playing medium distance with a 10% over adjustment power 1 ball settings with a quarterback. Bouncing nicely on the fairway, and here we just want to position ourselves around 250 to 255 yards. Second shot, we do play from 254 yards, and that's something we do need to remember because that's valuable information. 2 bars of backspin, 2 left spin always, and then we're looking to have the ball guideline to be to the pin, not through the hole, not short, to the pin. Very important. Now you can see that I haven't added any elevation in the info box, but that's because we're playing 55% elevation, and that's a lot, and I don't have a number for that. I need to get that, obviously. 55% elevation, power 2 ball settings, and from 254 yards we play 80% slider. Now in the video you can see me miss left, and the reason for that is that I do play 45% elevation. That's why my judgment call of playing 55% instead. So, summary when it comes to hole number 7. If you can play the blast shot, play the blast shot because that's superior the layup shot all day and every day. But with the adjustment explained here in the video, then you definitely have a chance to drop, even though it's going to be more rare to get the eagle if you're going to have to lay up. Hole number 8, we're going to have a similar type of structure when it comes to the same as hole number 2 when it comes to the wind strength. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. Right side of the yellow ring by the rough line, blue ring to the right by the sandtrap line to find the correct spot. 1.8 backspin and 1.3 left spin. Adjustment here now is going to be minimum distance with a 10% over adjustment for this shot. I'm gonna take a look at that first. Yes, that is the correct thing. So we do want to have here a wind between 5.5 to 7 miles per hour is what I suggest here. And the reason for that is that I always want us to adjust down into the bunker, because if we don't adjust into the bunker, we're gonna fly longer because we're gonna end up on a higher point, and therefore we're gonna miss left. So we need to adjust down into the bunker for this shot to work, and that's why we need to keep ourselves between 5.5 and 7 miles per hour. If we do that and we do hit perfect, this is, in my opinion, a very good chance for an hole-in-one. Hole number 9 is going to be a very tough par 5, and here we're going to fight for the eagle. We're removing the thought of getting an albatross here completely, because again, that's not going to be possible. Start at the top of +4 with extra mile level 8 and 9, top of +6 with extra mile level 6 and 7, 2 left spin, 1 top spin, adjust max +10, and then go with half a ball of curl. Great left on this shot is going to be danger, because we do play with not as accurate driver, and you can see here now we do have a ring of difference between our second bounce and the rough, but trust me, a bad great left will clip the rough on the second bounce, and then the eagle is somewhat game over. But as the wind is coming left to right, we need to play it close to the rough, because, you know, again, it's going to be difficult otherwise to get ourselves up to the top left, and we may then get stuck behind the trees, and that's going to be even more danger for the second shot if so. Now, second shot, we're going to play with the Cataclysm or the Big Dog, depending on what club you have the most topspin with. Obviously, we do want to have the 180 power, but having the topspin that I'm having on the Cataclysm level 4 is what saves me from not getting stuck into the rough. Add all the topspin you can and 2 bars of right spin. Stretch out your target to be in the center of the 2 smaller trees, as you could see there on the video. And then you want the ball to hit the rough and then roll out, and then to have a simple wedge to make an eagle and to go somewhat save the eagle. Obviously, those of you that do have higher level clubs than Cataclysm level 4 will have an advantage here. You can also think like this. If you have the possibility to play with a power 4 ball or power 5 ball, that's going to be very helpful for you. So what do you do if you have that possibility and want to do that? Then you set up your drive exactly at the same plus yardage as explained, and then use a different power ball. It's not harder than that. But what it will do then is that it will simplify the second shot, as you with the extra power will make sure that you will never get stuck into the rough. Because I do believe that if you have a short drive and you have a high wind on the second shot with a power 3 ball and you have lower level clubs, then you will be in trouble and you might have to save yourself from the rough. But again, we can't really play anything else here, because playing to the left side is gonna basically say bye-bye eagle completely, as there is no chance whatsoever by laying up left side to reach the green in 2. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Pro Division with the tournament win here for the Big Top tournament in Golf Clash the game. Get the ultimate tournament guides for Pro or Expert and Master by going to Patreon. Link is directly in the description down below. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Once again, thank you for watching and good luck in your Golf Clash game.